Hello everyone and welcome back to TowerGate. It is day 91, September the 13th, Wednesday. Thank you so much for tuning in. My apologies for not getting the Monday video up until Tuesday, but it looks like I got bit again by the Time Warner bug. As most of you know, if you watch my videos, we only have one internet provider here in my area, and that's Time Warner Cable. And about once a month it seems that they do some sort of a backup or something, and when they do, you lose internet connection for several 3-4 hours. So I wake up Monday morning to launch Monday's video, TowerGate video, and it's failed upload. So I was not able to get the video for Monday uploaded until Tuesday. So now it kind of looks like we're a day off or whatever, but that's what happens, and that's just what we have to deal with. I have no choice. Time Warner is my only choice, so I'm kind of at their mercy. But that is why the video for Monday, day 91, didn't get to you until Tuesday. My apologies. But what that means is that today, Wednesday, I actually have to make up for 2 days worth of news stories. So that means we need to get cracking. Lots to cover. Let's tick it off. Oh boy. The True Pundit. The White House is now seeking a DOJ probe, Department of Justice probe, of James Comey for perjury. And they're saying basically that they believe that James Comey is guilty of giving false testimony under oath. And to follow up on this was a Tuesday thing, and then on Wednesday, the spokesperson for the DOJ was questioned by the media, and they followed up that announcement by saying, yeah, we believe there's information that's come out since the last time we heard from James Comey that proves that he has perjured himself under oath, and they believe that he is guilty of perjury. And so the White House is now requesting the DOJ do a probe of James Comey for perjury. As you know, as was reported, I think over the weekend, I think it was Saturday or Sunday's video, we talked about the fact that both the House Oversight Committee and the Senate Judiciary Committee are now wanting to get James Comey back to ask him some questions in regards to a lot of things. I think the leaks, the dossier, the James Comey memos, the little meeting that was held after the tarmac meeting, and all these other things. I think there's a lot of things that they want to talk to James Comey about, and I'm not sure if he has to do this. He probably does if they subpoena him, which I imagine that they will. I imagine they could hold him in contempt. But I mean, I don't know why they have to go through this dog and pony show. They have enough evidence right now. They should just charge him, charge the dishonorable James Comey. We know he lied under oath. We've got the video. He sat there and told us what he did. But there's a lot more that we don't have hard evidence of, but we have plenty of circumstantial evidence. And with a thorough investigation, I'm sure we could get to the bottom of a lot of it. And so it looks like now that the White House is leaning on the DOJ to do a probe of James Comey, and both houses of Congress want him back. Excuse me. Sesame seed. They want him back to have some more conversation about his crimes. Well, the overachiever, the eager beaver, Jeff Sessions, wants to use lie detectors to uncover the leakers within the National Security Council. He wants to find the leakers of the transcripts of Trump's conversations with foreign leaders. Now, I would assume that he's referring to current people in the National Security Council, although he should be looking very, very hard at former National Security Council people. Now, they just had Susan Rice, who was essentially the head of the NSC, and of course we know all about Samantha Power. She, of course, falls into that group under the National Security Council. And there's others. But it seems now that Jeff Sessions wants to use lie detectors. Now, I think the only thing that I'm surprised about on this particular story is that Sessions is announcing this as if it's something that they don't generally do. Now, I would have assumed that there was an automatic process and procedure at the National Security Council to conduct random lie detector tests. Because it is at the CIA and the FBI, they have random lie detector tests at any time. Anyone head of the CIA can come up to anyone working at the CIA, same is true at the FBI, and they can pull you aside for a lie detector. You do not have a choice. It's not optional. They have mandatory lie detector tests at any time if you work for the CIA or the FBI. In fact, there's a very interesting story. It's actually the lie detector is actually how they nailed down Robert Hanssen as being the spy, the one who was giving the information to the Russians, and of course who's serving life in prison. I assume he's still alive. I haven't heard about him dying. He may have, but he got life in prison. For some of you who don't know about that, Robert Hanssen, he was the most notorious leaker, intelligence leaker ever. I think he even leaked worse things than Alder James. Alder James was the CIA officer who got caught selling secrets. Hanssen was the number 2 man in counterintelligence at the FBI at the Russia desk. Robert Hanssen answered to 2 people. Number 1, his boss, and his boss's boss, which was the FBI director himself. Hanssen was very high up, head, number 2 man of counterintelligence. Now, it's a kind of a funny story. I don't have a lot of time, but I'll go through it very quickly with you on how this kind of went down. Robert Hanssen was a guy who liked to spend a lot of money, but he didn't make a lot of money in working as counterintelligence at the FBI to afford the lifestyle that he was trying to live. He was also a very, very devout Catholic guy and freaky about it, And in fact, there's 2 really good movies that tell the story of Robert Hanssen. One's called Breach, and I can't think of that guy's name who plays him in that movie, but it's pretty good. And the other one, I think, I can't remember the name of the movie, but William Hurt plays the leading role in that one. Very, very good movie. Both of them are good. If you're interested in the Robert Hanssen story, the most notorious leaker in FBI intelligence and probably in American intelligence in our history, Robert Hanssen, the number 1 man. Pretty interesting story how they got him. He had been leaking because he had, liked to live this lifestyle that he couldn't afford working for the FBI. And so he began to sell secrets to Russian agents. The FBI realized that they had a mole at some point, and so they went to one of the heads of counterintelligence, Hanssen's boss, and they said, "We got a mole." And he said, "Well, I'll put Bob right on it, and we'll find this mole." So they actually had Bob Hanssen in charge of finding the mole, and he was the mole. And he sent him off on a bunch of wild goose chases for about 2 years. Well, finally what happens is his wife starts asking questions about all this money that he had been coming into. And he finally broke down and told his wife the truth. He said, "Well, I've been selling, a few secrets to some Russians." At which point she freaked out, and also being a devout Catholic, said, "Well, we're going to have to go talk to the priest." So Hanssen and his wife go talk to the priest, and the priest says, "Yeah, that's wrong. It's a sin. So what you're going to have to do to make amends to God is you're going to have to add up all that money that you've gotten from selling secrets to the Russians, and you're going to have to take that same amount of money, and you're going to have to donate that to charities, charitable causes, to make things right with God and your wife." And so Hanssen goes back and realizes, damn, now I got to come up with all this money. I got to, shut up my wife and make good with the priest, or I'm in trouble with the Catholic Church. So, man, I got to come up with some serious cash now. So he decided he really needed a big payday, and he had been getting like 10, 20 grand a pop for this stuff, but he needed some serious money at this point. So he decides he's going to release some really good information. So he gets with this Russian agent who he'd been given information to, and he decides to give them some really juicy stuff. And what he gave them, which ended up being the thing that got him caught, was he gave this Russian agent the name of 3 Russians which U.S. FBI counterintelligence had turned. And he gave the name of these agents to this Russian. Well, of course, this Russian gave it back to his people at in the Soviet Union, and they paid him very well for this. Also, what they did was the Russians sent their guys over here to nab those 3 Russians who had been turned, took them back to the Soviet Union, beat them, tortured them, and killed them. When word got back to the head of the FBI that his 3 best sources had been given up and had been taken back to the Soviet Union and killed, he knew that only a handful of people had the names of these 3 Russian agents that the FBI counterintelligence had turned. He knew the name, the assistant FBI director knew the name, Hansen and the 4 people under him in his office knew, and of course it was a couple of field agents that knew. Well, the director knew he and the assistant didn't do it. He knew the field agents probably didn't do it because they would have been deader than a bag of hammers in a matter of hours after doing so. So he figured it had to be someone in Hansen's office, and they figured it was someone working under Hansen. They didn't think it was actually him because he had run such a good game on everybody, having people think he was such a devout Catholic and so loyal to the FBI, even though, you know, he had been going out to strip clubs and getting prostitutes and all this kind of stuff, showing pictures of he'd been taking pictures of his naked pictures of his wife and showing them to guys at work and stuff. And so he was kind of a freak anyway. Had some serious issues, you might say. So anyway, they walk in one day to his office and say, okay, I need you and all your guys to come take lie detector tests. Now, Hansen was so arrogant, he thought he could beat the lie detector test. And he actually did believe that he beat the lie detector test. Because after they took them, no one came up to him and said, hey, we got the results back or whatever. They did never say that. At one point, he passed his boss in the hallway and he mentioned something to him about it and said, yeah, so about them lie detector tests, did we learn anything from that or whatever? And his boss just said, oh yeah, that went really well. We're still kind of looking up. But yeah, everything went really well, Bob. Thanks for asking. We'll get back to you. Well, obviously, as soon as he took the lie detector test, they knew that the 4 guys in the office with him were clean as a whistle and that he botched it big time. He blew the lie detector. I mean, it was not even close. I mean, he did badly on the lie detector. So they knew they had their mole. Mr. Hansen, Robert Hansen, number 2 man at counterintelligence. So they immediately put him under complete surveillance. And they watched him for a couple weeks, and then they caught him making his drop. And of course, they SWAT teamed his ass right after he made the drop. And he's been in prison ever since. And I'm not sure if his wife got in trouble. Now, I think in the case of Aldrich James, his wife was also implicated in that. I don't know that Hansen's wife was implicated, but if he's still alive, he's still in prison. He's never getting out, and neither is Aldrich James. But anyway, 2 really good movies about the Robert Hansen, if you care to watch that kind of a thing. But that's exactly what happened. It was lie detectors. And I just assumed that they, because they do this at the FBI and the CIA, that they probably did this at the National Security Council, because you're dealing with national security, national state secrets, and things like that. So I think they need to give Samantha Power and Miss Rice, I think they need to be given lie detector tests, because I'm pretty sure that everything that they say when they get talked to by Congress behind closed doors in a closed session, lies. All lies. Give them lie detector tests. Hell, give the entire Congress lie detector test. Give Comey, give Bannon, give Clinton, give the whole group of them. Lie detector tests for all of them. Every damn one of them. And contrary to what people say, lie detector tests are pretty damn good. The really good ones and the people who know what they're doing, they're about 98%. Bet on that. Anyway, getting back to the next story. What happened? Well, here's what's happening now. The price of the Rotten Reverend's new book, already 2 days before it went on sale. It actually went on sale today. But 2 days before it went on sale, they could tell just from pre-order sales that the book was going to bomb. So the Reverend's book was marked down on Amazon and also all throughout the chain of bookstore sellers such as Walmart and Barnes & Noble and all the rest. An immediate markdown of 40%, marking the book down from $30 down to $17.99. 2 days before it went on sale, because they could tell by pre-sale orders that it's going to be a bomb. Because no one cares about the Rotten Reverend's lies about why she lost the election. We all know why she lost. We all know what happened. I told you her book was going to be a flop. And also, if you go to Amazon and you read the customer reviews, she's got 1 star. 1 star. That's not going to drive book sales. There's another place that does ratings. It's not Rotten Tomatoes. They do movies, but it's like the book division of Rotten Tomatoes, and they have her at 0 stars. And you ought to read the comments. If you want to see something funny, go to Amazon, go to Hillary's book, and read the comments on Hillary's book. It's hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious. The Rotten Reverend. More about her in a moment. Gateway Pundit, Investigative Division, Josh Kaplan, stating that Mueller and Sessions are in possession of evidence debunking the Russian hacking narrative. Of course they are. But they know that there was no Russian involvement in the election, no Russian hacking, no Russian collusion, no Trump-Russia collusion. They know none of it is true. None of it. None of it. But anyhow, Josh Kaplan doing some good investigative journalism there at the Gateway Pundit, speaking to one of his sources, several sources, telling him that Mueller and Sessions already are in possession of the evidence debunking the Russian hacking narrative. Now, this may have something to do as a follow-up to the Dana Rohrabacher interview with Sean Hannity, and of course, where he's talking about that, where he's saying, hey, Assange just basically showed me everything I need to see. I can tell you right now, there was no Russian hacking. So anyway, they know that the whole Russia thing is a ruse, and that's why I'm constantly questioning Jeff Sessions. He sees a lot of crime. He knows there's a lot of crime out there. He's investigating a lot of crime. It's a crime. Yep, the overachieving eager beaver, Jeff Sessions, knows that the Russian hacking is a myth and a fraud and a fake. I'm not real impressed with AG Sessions. Here's a funny story. Again, the Rotten Reverend admitted to Jane Pauley in her interview that she was so confident that she was going to win the election that she went ahead and bought a second home in New York close to her current residence there, a $1.6 million second home in anticipation of winning the 2016 election, which she says was going to be used for her aides. I don't think so. That was going to be used for Chelsea and her hubby and the kids, a little weekend getaway place that she was going to, that she probably purchased with illegal campaign funds. I look for an investigation into that sometime soon, but you can be very well assured that that little property will be up for sale pretty soon. I think Trump should buy it. It's right next door to the Clinton. It's right next door to the Clintons' main home there in Chappaqua. Trump ought to buy the house next door. Oh man, that would be freaking great. And he ought to move in. That would be freaking great. Or just buy it and give it to someone. It's 1.6 mil. Trump makes over $1 million a day. He could buy that bad boy tomorrow, and then just give it to Scaramucci, Steve Bannon. Here you guys go. Here's a house. Thank you very much. You'll be Hillary's next door neighbor. Maybe you can get some of Bill's action that he doesn't have time to get to. Hey, maybe that's what Hillary will do with this place. She'll kick Bill and the Energizer Bunny out of their main house and have them actually conduct their activities in the house next door. That way she doesn't have to call Secret Service when she's on her way home every day to let Bill know to get the Energizer Bunny out of the house before she gets home. So confident she was going to win that she buys a $1.6 million pad. Unbelievable. How humorous is that? Steve Bannon, on 60 Minutes interview with Charlie Rose, says, quote, Hillary is not very bright. Yeah, guess what? We already know that. Not only that, she's a little nuts, to be honest with you. The woman is not in her right mind. Trust me on that. She's got some issues, not to mention the medical issues. And in fact, wasn't September 11th the one-year anniversary of her passing out? passing out like a sack of potatoes and having to be thrown into the Scooby van like a side of beef. Remember her feet dangling? Oh, that was classic. What a morning. I remember that quite well. Senator Magoo has sided with Al Gore, the Democrats, on climate change and the climate change agenda. Good old Senator Magoo. My goodness, man, this guy is sick. And you know, when he was quoted a couple days ago, I'm not sure where the quote was from, what he was talking about, but he was quoted a couple days ago as saying he wants to be remembered as a hero. A hero. Yeah, good old wet start McCain. Yeah, try a zero. Zero the hero. Senator Magoo. Zero the hero. What you gonna do? What you gonna do, brother? Zero the hero. I believe that's off the Sabbath album with Ian Gillan singing. I believe it was called Dehumanized. Correct me if I'm wrong. Not a very good album, really. Not one of my favorites. That was a good song. Zero the hero. The only good song on the record. Anyway, Denmark. Denmark has suspended taking in refugees. Uh-oh. The technocrats at the EU aren't going to like that very much. I expect that you'll see them go after Denmark the way they've gone after Hungary. Maybe Denmark will even build a wall, like Hungary did, and keep the refugees out there. I'm telling you, public opinion is turning even in Europe. They're waking up to the disastrous policy of the EU. The George Soros-funded operation to destroy Europe is starting to face some serious opposition from the folks. And they're bitching, and they should. I'm telling you, the tide is going to turn. Watch the EU very closely. Watch the EU very, very closely. Almost every leader in Europe who signed on to the EU plan is in deep, deep trouble. Angela Merkel, everywhere she goes, she's getting heckled, tomatoes thrown at her. It's a very, very tough deal right now to sell the EU's suicide policy, the refugee policy in Europe. Denmark, waking up. Look for Austria to do the same. But watch Hungary and the Czech Republic and the Baltic states. That's where the action's going to be, my friends. Truth feed. The war between Bernie Sanders and the Rotten Reverend is heating up. Not only is the Rotten Reverend blaming Bernie for her loss after she stole the primary from him, but now her peeps are accusing Bernie of colluding with the Russians. Yes, that's right. An official advisor during the Hillary Rotten Reverend Clinton campaign, some hack named Adam Parkhomenko. Yes, Mr. Parkhomenko is stating on his Twitter that Bernie was colluding with the Russians as another reason why the Rotten Reverend lost. Unbelievable. The FBI official statement: the Awans security clearances were forged. Let me say that again. Now we know what's cooking at the FBI. The Awans security clearances were forged. They were granted access to congressional intelligence despite having falsified vetting. Now, I learned something in this story I had no idea of, and that is that the FBI does not do the background checks for congressional aides or people who work in the halls of Congress. Now, this is mind-boggling because if you go to get a job at McDonald's or especially like a janitorial service or something like that, where you have to get a background check, or if you handle money, dollar store, anything like that, you're getting an FBI background check, which are pretty thorough. But apparently, the Office of Personnel Management, an agency within the deep state government, actually handles the background investigations for congressional aides and people, staffers and third-party people who work in Washington, D.C. on the Hill. And this third-party the Office of Personnel Management uses third-party contractors to conduct these background investigations, which do not include FBI background checks. Do not. Can you believe this? Can you believe this? I mean, oh my God. Oh. Twitch McConnell stating now that it's not likely that tax reform or tax cuts will happen this year. Twitch. There's 15 and a half weeks left in the fall session before Christmas break. If Twitch McConnell bobbles this and accomplishes absolutely nothing by the end of the year, I just cannot imagine in my wildest dreams that there won't be calls for his head, calls for him to step down. No one can be this colossal of a failure like Twitch has been and still hold on to that position. This is just unbelievable. And the thing is that he could make this happen. He's purposely obstructing. He's so arrogant. Believe me, this is not just a snub at Trump and an FU to Trump. This is a you. McConnell wants to punish Trump, but he wants to punish the people who voted for him even more. That's what this is really all about for Twitch McConnell. This is an FU to all of us who voted for Trump and support him. That's exactly what this is. He's playing a dangerous game, but these guys are so arrogant. They think that they exist in such a airtight system of rigged elections that they can do anything, and you can't get rid of them. I wouldn't be so sure. I wouldn't be so sure, Twitch. We'll keep watching. What a miserable failure. Actually, he's very successful. He's doing exactly what he's trying to do, and he is succeeding. We'll see how it turns out for Twitch. Something tells me it's not going to end very well for Twitch McConnell. Republican Congressman, Michigan, Dave Trott. Is that it? Yeah, I think that's it. He will be the third House Republican that will not seek re-election. That's the third anti-Trump Republican that's decided he's tired of getting heckled, he's tired of getting yelled at, he's tired of the phone calls, he's tired of the emails, he knows his goose is cooked. He knows he's got that cushy lobbyist job waiting in the wings. He's going to make that run. Good. Good. I hope he takes the other 90% of his criminal friends with him, because he's actually making a very smart move. Those who stick around to be primaried are in for a big surprise. Another rotten Reverend Clinton lie. Here we go again. Back in September of last year when she was campaigning, she told an audience that she was in New York on 9/11. But as it turns out, in Hillary's new book, The Rotten Reverend says that she didn't travel to New York until September the 12th. Liar. We knew the Rotten Reverend was a liar, but we didn't know she was this stupid of a liar. When you're on tape saying one thing, and then you come right out, but she just got caught last week with the Dreamers thing, where she said Dreamers should be sent home, and now she, of course, is trying to promote supporting them. So, I mean, the woman just lies. She's a pathological liar. She thinks people are stupid. We got you on record, Rotten Reverend. And believe me, every time we catch you, we're going to make sure to bring it up. Homeland Security issues a key waiver allowing the border wall construction to begin. Excellent. You see, Trump's going to get his damn wall one way or another. So now Homeland Security has issued a key waiver allowing the border wall construction to begin. Start building that sucker. He's already got $2.3 billion authorized. He'll get the rest of it however he needs to get it. Believe me, he's building his damn wall. F you, Twitch. Twitch is trying to stop it. It's not going to work. Supporters. Rotten Reverend again. Supporters of the Rotten Reverend several supporters of the Rotten Reverend suffer heat stroke waiting out in the hot sun after the Rotten Reverend shows up 2 hours late for a book signing. This included people in wheelchairs, elderly people, things like that, and one woman who was about to pass out and die, needing water, asked for some water from one of Clinton's security detail, and he said no. They didn't bring any water, only for the Rotten Reverend. Of course, the Rotten Reverend was late because she was inside the building in an air-conditioned building with plenty of water, chatting with the host from The View, leaving her supporters out in the hot sun to die. Yes, this is not a big secret. We know that the Rotten Reverend was late many, many times throughout the campaign season, sometimes an hour, 2, 3, one time even like 4 hours late. She would leave her supporters waiting and waiting and waiting. She was never on time. Never on time. One last thing for the Rotten Reverend. She's recently spouting off again, and she referred to a quote by someone named J.D. Vance. I have no idea who J.D. Vance is, but she stated that J.D. Vance was right when he said that hillbillies lost me the election. Hillbillies lost me the election. Yes, we did. Proud hillbilly. We're proud hillbillies. The 87% of the country, the counties in America, are hillbillies. Yes, that's right. The Rotten Reverend, she just keeps putting her foot in her mouth. What a disgusting human being. She is destroying herself. Hey, I'm enjoying it because, she's only causing more problems for her party, making things more difficult. She's the best player on our team. I hope she keeps on writing books and giving speeches and making comments like this. What an idiot. And Bannon's right. She's not that bright. She really isn't. People, she's a smart woman. No, she's not. She's an idiot. Flaming idiot. Well, my friends, thank you so much for tuning in. TowerGate, day 91, September the 13th, Wednesday. God willing, my internet connection will not fail, and you will see this video on Wednesday. And I'll be back with you on Thursday for some more breaking news. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate your comments, thumbs up, and all that kind of stuff. Sharing the videos, it's awesome. I appreciate you. You guys have a good night. Be safe. We'll see you next time. Bye.